important thing to discuss in any patient with chronic myeloid leukemia is the role of clinical trials and research. And me as a hematologist, we want to try and give the best treatments available. And we can know more about the condition of CML as well as its treatment and which is more effective through clinical research. And clinical research can be thought about into two different aspects. The first is the scientific background of knowing more about the condition. And this is often done in the laboratory with patient samples. And then looking at more interventional clinical research where we're offering patients certain medications or other things that we can do to see whether they are beneficial or not beneficial in terms of the management of their chronic myeloid leukemia. I'm going to concentrate on the more interventional clinical research that I often get involved, as well as a whole range of different CML physicians and medical teams as well. And that's looking at newer medications for chronic myeloid leukemia and seeing whether they're more effective or better in certain patient groups and certain settings as well. The first thing to notice is that the clinical research within CML has really spearheaded the development of patients' experiences and how well they get treated with CML. Looking at the very early studies of the first generation of the drugs that we used, in particular imatinib, without these trials, we would still be dealing with a very, very difficult condition. So these trials are very important at pushing the treatments forward for patients with CML. They help improve the treatment and they also help improve the quality of life of patients. There are a whole range of different clinical trials available, and those trials, and there are a number of trials also in development, and they're looking to explore things such as new tyrosine kinase inhibitors or related medications or even combinations of different drugs. They're also looking at studies which may even look at seeing the possibility of reducing the dose of medication or even stopping the medication and seeing what happens. There are a number of studies which have already been done, and they've shown very, very good results, and it's guided our decision-making in the clinic as well. There are other studies which look at biomarkers and seeing whether we can predict response to treatments as well. And there may be other factors as well, and other studies which are looking at quality of life issues and seeing whether certain interventions or certain observations with patients' treatments make an impact in terms of quality of life. Ultimately, all of these things are looking to try and improve things for patients like yourself or for patients in the future as well. Clinical trials, there are different phases as well. And as we'll see later, that clinical trials go through a whole range of very stringent regulatory processes to make sure they're safe and they're ethical as well. These different phases depends on the development of certain drugs. Now, the early phase studies is looking at whether the potential new drug is safe and it doesn't cause any significant side effects. And then as we go through later phases of studies, we're looking to see whether it's more, or we're looking also at the safety, but we're also looking to see whether it's effective. Is it controlling the condition better than what we think we've seen in previous studies and other medications in that setting? Then as we go on to more later phase studies, we've collected more information, we're looking at recruiting a large number of patients. And in these large number of patients, we're trying to compare one treatment over another. You may ask yourself, what are the potential advantages and disadvantages of clinical trials? Well, the advantages potentially would be that you get access to treatments or interventions which would not be available as standard of care on the NHS. Patients on clinical trials often have more blood tests. You may see this as a negative, but usually we may pick up things like blood pressure or cholesterol or other medical related issue that we may have not been doing unless you're on that clinical trial. Ultimately, with any participation in these clinical trials, the participation is completely voluntary. They are regulated very strictly by various different formal organisations within the UK and globally, and they have to go through stringent review from various different ethical committees as well. There are sometimes disadvantages that you may have to travel further. You may have more invasive tests such as bone marrows and more blood tests as well. And there is the potential that, especially if the trial is looking at a standard of care treatment, you may not have the opportunity to go on to the newer drug and be what we call randomized to the standard of care treatment as well. So there's not always a guarantee on interventional studies looking at newer drugs that you may get the newer drug.